The Zero Tolerance Model 561. This is a Rick Hinderer design and inspired by his XM18, which is one more incredible custom knife. And Zero Tolerance has done a fantastic job replicating that legendary design. Now, one of the unique things about Rick Hinderer is that he is a fireman and a first responder. And all of his designs are real-world situational knives. Knives that can be used in the field, and part of the reason for this total design is around one of his experiences as a first responder. Now, as you see from the box, American built, and Zero Tolerance knives are made in the USA using only the top quality designs and features. But the one good thing about the Zero Tolerance 561 is it's between a third and a fourth of the price of the original XM18. Now, of course, the first thing we want to look at with any knife is the blade, and the quality of the blade is what makes this knife. Now, the LMAX process is a powdered metallurgical steel, and it's made from a unique cross-rolling technology. And what this does, it provides a very even steel content. In fact, it has a very fine carbon distribution, and this helps with any chipping. In fact, this is very resistant to any type of chipping. The metal itself originally was used in industry as far as dies to be used for industrial purposes, and these dies would last for a really long time. So this steel is some of the best on the market. It does have a matte stone-washed finish, but the LMAX steel itself can take a really extreme high polish. But this knife is made for field use. It's made to be used out in the elements, and if your life depends on something, you can depend on this type of knife to get you through about any situation. The LMAX also gives you very extreme edge retention and this high strength, very strong and very tough. Now with that, of course, is the locking system. And one of the things you'll notice is how I turned that flipper and the blade came out very smooth. In fact, it's almost just buttery smooth. And the reason for that is the KVT ball bearing system. And that is the Kershaw velocity technology. Now what this entails is instead of a pivot to pull the blade out, it's actually a ball bearing system. And the ball bearing system is like a disc with a hole in it and then little ball bearings all the way around to give it a lot of uniformity. So you're going to have a real smoothness. In fact, you don't even have to snap your wrist to get this knife out quickly. But if you choose to, this knife will really come out quickly. Very rapid deployment. It also has a thumb stud here, which is of course ambidextrous, and you can use that as well. The design is very quick. Whether you want to do a slow draw like this, or you actually want to give a little bit of a wrist twitch, you can really pull this blade out. Those ball bearings make this really super smooth. And again, even with the thumb studs, very quick to operate. Now the G10 scales on one side, this is dark earth, very nice, not too aggressive, but it will give you a good gripping surface. Of course, you have your torque screws all the way around. It is a solid build as far as put together wise. Also, you have your lanyard loop here to be able to attach a lanyard. The flipper comes out right here, and of course you can see the jimping that happens right here. And then this bolt right here, which goes through the KVT system, the ball bearing system, here it's locked into place. And of course you have torque screws here. Now, as you'll notice, the back side is a very nice silvery finish. This is titanium, so it really helps with the weight of this knife. In fact, it only weighs 5.8 ounces. And for this size knife, which sports a 3 3/4 inch blade and 8 inches overall, this is extremely comfortable in the pocket. You can see the machining on the titanium and on the G10 scales, and it's a 3D machining process. Now the locking system is a Rick Hinderer specialty. In fact, this is the locking system here. You can see where it locks up. So it is a frame lock design. And this has the lock bar stabilizer. Now that in itself is a little bit of a story. Rick Hinderer patented this unique design, and one of the reasons was he was on a call and he took his knife. It was a very stressful, very adrenaline-filled situation. So when he took his knife to close the blade, he pushed the liner lock too far over. And so what happened was when he came back out, his knife wouldn't lock up. And so because of that, he put this lock bar stabilizer. And this is the lock bar stabilizer. It retains the lock so it cannot be extended but to so far. So this really protects your knife from inadvertently going too far and extending beyond where it needs to, and it keeps it in check. And this is going to add to the life of your knife as well, because there is an adjustment right here on the stabilizer itself. Now the liner itself has been skeletonized on the G10 side, and so there are slots to reduce the weight. But now on the titanium side there are pockets that have been relieved, and this really allows for a nice balance and a nice weight for this knife to be used in an everyday situation. As you can see, it's a pretty hefty knife, excellent for whatever task, even as a self-defense knife. Now Zero Tolerance does feature their new deep pocket carry, and this design is able to move to a quad carry. That means you can place it anywhere in these 4 points. And personally, I'm going to take this clip and bring it to this side because this is the way I like to carry my knife. Now the deep pocket design does ride really low. Gets down in there, you have just a little bit riding here. So this is going to keep your knife secure from inadvertently getting pushed out of your pocket. But if you need it, really fast to operate. You're ready for action. This knife is really made to carry. You do have your texturing and jimping right here. Of course, here on the flipper itself, right here on the liner lock, you're able to get a hold of it very easily and pull it forward. Of course, there are also jimpings right here and here. So once you have it out and in your hand, it gives you something substantial to grasp onto. On the blade itself, if you need to get a little more pressure, right here, and then you have these ridges all along the top. It is a spear point design, and it does come at the top to a taper, but then it fills back out about right here at the grind mark. A little closer look at the thumb studs and at the texturing. Just a very well-made design. You can see the washers themselves recessed in. This is a knife that would last many lifetimes, even of heavy and hard use. Now one knife that I carry every day is my Zero Tolerance 350. And I really like the speed safe design. But to be honest with you, this thing can get out of your hand if you're not careful. With this, it's so smooth that your reaction to the blade coming out is just very natural. Now the 350, even though it's a smaller knife, weighs just about 1/10 of an ounce under what the 561 weighs. And a lot of that has to do with a lot of the skeletonized liner locks here and the liner, and then of course the pockets that are pulled out, and then the titanium as well. So you have a much larger knife, and to be honest with you, you don't know that you're even carrying this knife because it fits so well in your pocket. Now also, in fact, I did a review recently on the Zero Tolerance 550, which was also a Hinderer design. Excellent knife, wonderful, and I gave it as a present to a really good friend of mine, and I'll tell you what, both of these knives are excellent. I was really glad to be able to get the 561 to replace the 550, because that 550 was a beautiful piece. Zero Tolerance has become one of my top favorite knives. They are so dependable, they're so heavy, and I'll tell you, every time I pull one of these out of my pocket, everybody goes crazy. They love the quality and the smoothness of these blades. And the Rockwell hardness on the blade itself is 57 to 59. Now the actual Rick Hinderer XM18, they run over $1,000. I've seen them for $1,050 and more. The Zero Tolerance 561 runs $325 on their website. At goinggear.com you can get it for about $280. Plus, of course, you can get a 10% discount using Such in the coupon code. So that'll give you another $28 off, and you get free shipping. So that's a great source for a lot of your Zero Tolerance and Benchmade knives. In fact, that's where I get all of my Benchmade and Zero Tolerance. And I want to thank Marshall at Going Gear also for sending this to me for the review, to be able to show you guys just an incredible, beautiful work of art that could also save your life in a tough situation and last a lifetime. Zero Tolerance, thumbs up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. In fact, the Model 350 is just a that has a powder metallurgical. Now the LMAX is made and it provides extreme cross rolling process.